Hi, Poppy Yeager here with This Day in History. January 26th, 1788. It was the founding of the colony of Australia. On this day, Captain Arthur Phillip had led a fleet of 11 ships to the colony of New South Wales. That's what Australia was initially called. And the ships were full of convicts. England had too many convicts. They didn't know what to do with them. Many of them were debtors. They wanted them out of England. So they loaded them up onto ships and sent them to Australia. Australia was founded as a penal colony. For the first few years, it was difficult for the new colonists. They struggled to actually survive because they were unfamiliar with the climate and they were not experienced farmers. They were convicts. They didn't know what they were doing when it came to farming. But under Captain Arthur Phillip's leadership, the colony eventually did succeed. Today in Australia is known as Australia Day. The Aborigines, though, call it Invasion Day. Just like in America when the white settlers came, they displaced the natives. The indigenous people were displaced by the white people and conflict arose. Once again, it was a conquest. And the white settlers did not treat the indigenous people kindly. I first became obsessed with Australia when I was, in like 6th or 7th grade, when I had a major crush on Olivia Newton-John. I didn't recognize it as a crush at the time because, there just wasn't as much LGBT exposure. So I had no idea that what I was feeling towards Olivia Newton-John was the same that my best friend Libby was feeling when it came to Bruce Willis. Anyway, I was obsessed with Olivia Newton-John. I can't tell you how many times I watched the movie Grease. So, of course, when I grew up, I had to take a trip to Australia. And I think it was the summer of 2001. My girlfriend at the time and I traveled to Australia. But we only had 5 weeks because we also were doing parts of Eastern Europe. And so we had all summer, but she wanted to do Eastern Europe. I wanted to do Australia. So we split it and we did both. But 5 weeks, Australia is a huge country, not nearly enough time to explore all of it. So we really only did explore a small bit, but I enjoyed it. We got to see Sydney. We went snorkeling and scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. It was an amazing time. We got to see the koalas, the kangaroos, but I did not have time to get out to the outback. I didn't have time to go to Perth or Darwin, places that I would love to travel to. So hopefully at some point in my future, I will be able to return to Australia, possibly rent a car and take a road trip. That is on my bucket list to return. But even if I don't get to return, I was there and I experienced it and it was lovely. So that's This Day in History, January 26th, 1788. The colony of Australia was founded.